Welcome to everyone hearing us today. Welcome to the Consular Section monthly Facebook Live event. Hello, how are you? My name is Abdel, and I am a consular officer here at the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad.
Hey guys, my name's Vincent. I'm a consular officer too, and I'm really happy to talk to people all across Pakistan about visas and myths.
Great. Well, welcome, Vincent. And I want to start off by saying that we do this every single month. We are started this in January, and we have the end of the month, each Thursday, the last Thursday of each month, we will do a Facebook Live event. And today's topic is 5 myths of the visa interview process, Vincent. And what else? We're going to do what else?
Well, we're going to have questions and answers. We're going to give some pro tips too, because I can promise today that everyone's going to get a pro tip about your interview.
Great. And we're going to go for 30 minutes. Quick session, but with a lot of information, interactive and fun. Okay?
Yep.
So, Vincent, do you have our first question? Go ahead and launch it out.
I do. I've heard a lot about this, and there's a myth in my mind that having a relative in the U.S. will hurt my chances for a U.S. visa. I think that's true. Is it?
No, that's a myth. That's a big myth. It's one of our frequently asked questions.
Oh,
I have relatives. I'm never going to get a visa. That's not true.
All right, what's the real story?
Us consular officers, when we interview all the applicants, we want the truth. And so we ask you, do you know anyone in the U.S.? And you should say yes if you do. No if you don't. Do you have friends in the U.S.? Well, if you do, it's okay to say yes. We encourage everyone that if they do have any family in the U.S., you can tell us the truth. We issue all the time to people who are going to visit their friends in New York and Washington and Maryland. So please say the truth.
Okay, I will.
No. Now, I have a question for you.
All right.
Vincent.
What do you got?
One of the things we always hear is, you know what? I am young. I am single, not married, not looking to get married. I have tried several times. I know my visa is going to be refused. Is this true?
क्या मैं उर्दू में बोल सकता हूँ? Can I speak in Urdu?
Of course you can.
अच्छा, ये सही नहीं है. अफसर नौजवान और गैर शादीशुदा अफराद को भी वीज़ा देते हैं. ये बात रखें कि जब अफसर दरखास्त गुजार को जांचते हैं, तो हम उनके पाकिस्तान से मजबूत पेशा वराना, समाजी और मुआशी ताल्लुकात, मजबूत बैन-उल-अक़वामी सफ़र, पाकिस्तान में ख़ानदान, नौकरी और सफ़र करने की अहलियत को देखते हैं. ये सब अवामिल हतमी फैसले करने में किरदार अदा करते हैं. और ये बात अहम है कि अगर आपके वालिदैन, शौहर या रिश्तेदार आपके अखराजात अदा कर रहे हैं, तो ये मालूमात काउंसलर ऑफिस को ज़रूर बताइए. ये मालूमात हमें आपकी सूरत-ए-हाल जानने में बेहतर मदद करेगी. हम जानते हैं कि ये इंटरव्यू बहुत ही मुश्किल है, और हम जानते हैं कि जो नौजवान तालिब इल्म होते हैं, मिसाल के तौर पर जो नौजवान ख़ानदान और वालिदैन के साथ रहते हैं, उनके वालिदैन उनके ख़ानदान के सफ़र करने के अखराजात पूरे करते हैं. कोई मसला नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं है. ठीक है?
ठीक है. Shukriya, Vincent. Shukriya. Well, I really hope that you understand that definitely you can apply. So I guess I can apply if I'm single and young.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, we welcome you. All right, myth number 3. We're moving along. Here we go. Let's imagine this. I was refused a tourist visa recently, and I think I should reapply for a visa maybe next month to improve my chances. Wait, maybe next week. How about tomorrow?
No!
Why not?
No, Vincent. I want you to wait some time. As consular officers, we often see applicants who come multiple times a week. You also see this sometimes.
Yeah,
and
we do.
It's not a good sign if a person's continuously every week applying for a visa, because we've already informed them that they do not qualify at this time, that they should have strong professional, economic, and social ties to Pakistan. We also look for individuals with some sort of travel history at times. And so we want to see that you have established your ties to Pakistan. So if you come next week and you've been refused this week, probably it's going to be the same answer.
Yeah, but I have more documents this time.
Oh, no, Vincent. We, as consular officers, sometimes we don't even have a time to look at the actual documents.
That's true.
We may request them, but we don't have to look at the documents. We have a lot of information already available to us, and we want to speak with you. We want to ask your the questions directly to you. So our conversation, although it's short, we get a lot of information from you. So you don't need to go and get any more documents.
So I think what you're saying is that an applicant should wait until there's a substantial change in their circumstances before they reapply.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct. So we want to see, if this year you had a job, but then, you might have gotten a bonus. You might have gotten a raise in your job or moved to a better position. Or, you've traveled a little bit.
Right.
Or you've had now family here in Pakistan. And so it's a combination of elements, not just one element.
Yeah, and I think that if you're refused a visa, it's not the end of the world. You can always apply again. And when you have that change in your circumstances, the officer is going to give you their full attention. They're going to hear about your story, and you're going to have a chance to tell them what has changed. So if you've been refused before, no big deal, but wait until something changes before you reapply.
Another important point to make in this myth is I'm going to go and apply in Karachi because I was refused in Islamabad.
Yeah.
And so tomorrow I'm going to fly to Karachi and I'm going to apply there.
It's expensive.
And I'm going to get the visa. I mean, we see this sometimes, correct?
Probably not. I mean, you can apply wherever's convenient for you. If you live in Balochistan and you want to apply in Karachi, you want to apply in Islamabad, no problem. But if you're refused in Islamabad and you fly to Karachi because you think your chances are better, they're not, because everyone is under the same standard of law, and the adjudications of the interviews are very, very consistent. So that's probably not the best use of your time or money, and I would recommend waiting until there's a significant favorable change in your social and economic circumstances.
And always important to remind people that we communicate as a mission. And so if you were refused in one place, we are going to know about this.
Yeah.
And if you have been refused, always remember, when you're filling out your DS-160, list it that you have been refused.
Right. Pro tip.
Don't say, I've never been refused, right? So this is a good tip for our listeners here today.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. I have another question because something I always hear is I need to go and speak English to the consular officer because I need to impress the consular officer. Is this true?
Well, no, it's not true. I think people know that.
So this is a myth.
It's a myth. It's a myth, and there are many languages in Pakistan, and hum sab zubani jante hai. It's true. English is fine. Urdu is fine. Punjabi is fine. Sindhi, Hindko. और जब पख्तून बोलने वाले लोग आते हैं मैं स्टालमशे कहता हूँ.
Oh, you see, you're an expert. You're an
well,
expert
no, I'm learning, and that's one of the I think the perks of for you and me to serve here is to listen to such an incredible variety of languages, and we're prepared for any of them. I think
it's true. It's true, and I want to reassure all of our listeners here today that we have a variety of translation services here at Post for our use during the interview.
Yeah.
We rely a lot on our local staff who work here, but also on officers such as Vincent who have received training to understand you and to be able to give you a fair interview in the language of your preference.
Yeah, and if you have parents that are coming in and maybe your parents don't speak English, tell them it's no big deal. Walk up to that window and tell us your story because we'll be ready. If I don't understand what your mom is saying, I'm going to get someone who does, and we're going to hear the story, and we'll make the right decision.
Great point, Vincent. And, tune into our monthly Facebook chats to receive more information on student visas as well. I want to make an emphasis on this because students who are applying, we also ask them to speak a little bit of English. And sometimes this is a big misconception. But yes, because if you're going to the U.S. to study, we require you to speak English. So in those cases, we are going to use that time to speak with you and test your English level a little bit there.
Do you have any more pointers on students? I love students.
Students are our favorites, and you know what? We did a Facebook chat a few months ago here, and our audience was very engaging. It's available in our Facebook page, so make sure you go and like our Embassy Facebook page, and under videos you'll find our student Facebook chat, which gives you all the tips you need for a successful student visa application.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
So moving right along, we've covered already 4 myths. So thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us here today we're speaking to you from the consular section in Islamabad, and we're going over 5 myths and pro tips for your visa interview. And so we have Vincent here. My name is Abdel, and we're going to go right along to myth number 5.
All right, here we go. Myth number 5, having visas for other countries will improve my chances of getting a U.S. visa. Myth?
What do you think?
Well,
I think this is a myth.
Well, I mean, it's reviewed, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just one factor. Let's put it that way.
Good. Yeah.
I wouldn't say, hey, I went to Europe, I'm getting a U.S. visa, done deal.
Correct.
Can't say that.
Consular officers, when we're doing our interviews, we look at, again, a range of factors. We look at your social ties to Pakistan, your economic ties to Pakistan, your professional ties to Pakistan. And so we want to see a range of factors, not just travel to other countries. We can have individuals who have traveled to multiple countries, but if that trip is not a legitimate trip, then it didn't happen. And so we will definitely know. My recommendation to everyone who's listening is you don't need to worry about travel to other countries. We do want to see sustained if you're late in your career, for example, and you're going for business conferences, we want to see a pattern of that, visits to other countries as well. But it is important to say the truth. If you have no prior international travel, you can tell the consular officer. We issue individuals who have never traveled before all the time. And you can inform the officer during your interview, but also in your SEAC, when you fill out the DS-160, Vincent.
Wait. What's a SEAC?
Oh, a SEAC is that DS-160, which it's the application you fill out that the officer will review with you at the time of the interview.
It's the application form.
The application,
basically.
the visa application form.
All right.
And so we want to review that, and if they're going to ask you, have you visited any country? And you're going to say, yes, I visited X, Y, and Z country. But a big tip, here's the big tip.
Tell me.
On this myth. We want to let everyone know you do not need to provide a fake visa.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay? If you have traveled to other countries, great. But if you have not traveled to other countries and you go and get a fake visa from another country to show that you have traveled, we will know, and it may not lead to a favorable decision.
Are there any consequences for lying?
Yes, there are multiple consequences. You can become ineligible to go to the U.S. in the future, and in some serious cases, you can have a serious legal issues as well.
So just be honest.
Just be honest.
Hey,
just be honest.
Do you know what my favorite international trip has been so far?
Which one?
Pakistan.
Love
it. How about you?
I love the food here. I love interacting with the people. I talk to so many people a day, and I learn so much about the country just by speaking with the people at the window. So yeah. I may ask you, where are you from? And, what's your favorite food from your city? So
yeah. That's mostly for us. You're from Balochistan. Do you like Balochi Saji? Because I like it too.
Oh, yes. That KPK barbecue.
Right.
Huh?
Pro tips. Should we move on to some pro tips?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that. Now, we give you tips throughout the entire presentation, but we want to focus today on just a few. And let me see. Now, I have a question for you, Vincent.
Shoot.
I have heard, and I think that sometimes if I have my flight booked, if I have a hotel reservation, I've already spent all this money, I'm going to get the visa.
Sounds expensive.
Do I need to do this? Is this something, what's your tip here?
No, it's not recommended. Never book a flight or make final hotel reservations before your interview, because you never know what's going to happen. If you're prepared and everything goes well, you could get the visa and it could work out. But if there's administrative processing, or if there's a delay, or if the buses don't run that day, your whole itinerary could be thrown off. So if I were traveling, if I needed a visa to a country, I would wait until I had the visa in my passport before I paid any money, just for my own wallet.
I would do that. I would do that. Now, you mentioned administrative processing. I just want to clarify a little bit to our audience here today. Some cases require additional administrative work behind the scene, and it may delay some cases, and we have no control over that. And so that's why we tell everyone, apply early.
Yeah.
So good point on not having to book a flight or hotel before your interview. Mm-hmm. And I see a question came through. It says, is it true that if you get refused a visa, you would never get a visa? And we talked about this earlier. Right. I just want to remind our audience, maybe some people are just joining us.
No, if you're refused a U.S. visa and you come again after a significant change in your circumstances, you're going to get the full attention of the consular officer. You'll have a brand new interview. And in my own career, I've frequently issued visas after refusals because I saw, hey, this guy's got a new job. This guy has been all over the world. He's a different applicant now. So no problem there.
All right. Well, thank you for that question. And we're going to move on to our second tip, interview tip. Now, do you need to bring documents to the interview? And we've talked a little bit about this, but I want to spend a little bit more on documents. Why don't I need documents?
Well, the interview is not document-based, and that's something unique about what we do at the U.S. Embassy. We're really interested in your story. I'm looking at the person in front of me. I want to know all about you, just through the power of speech. If you have a document that you think will be helpful, you're welcome to bring it. But I may not look at it. I may not have time. I may not need it. I can do everything just by speaking to you. If you want to bring every document that you have in your house, you can. It's probably not advisable because we just don't do it that way. We like to talk to you.
Yes, and to add to that point, I have to say, you can try and stuff the document under the window for the officer to review. Don't feel bad if the officer, says, I don't have the time right now to look at these. Your visa is approved, or I've reached a decision in this case, because we have a lot of applicants,
right.
And we already have a lot of information. And that's why it's important in your DS-160, that visa application that you do, that you are truthful, that you put your income information, your job information, that you put where you've traveled, so that we can ask you specific question and not need to request all those documents.
Right. Okay.
All right.
What should we do next?
Number 3.
Number 3. Well, I think we touched on it a little bit, but Abdel, how early should I apply?
Apply early. You can apply anytime for your visa. Again, we've mentioned you don't need exact travel plans. You need to apply with enough time, because if there are delays in your processing, you can miss your flight, you can miss your vacation with your family. So we want to encourage everyone to apply really early. Right now, in Islamabad, we have about a 5-day wait for visa interviews.
It's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but you never know.
You never know. This can increase. I know in the fall we get a lot of people trying to travel and get away from the cold a little bit.
Right.
So we want to remind everyone, this is your opportunity. Come early, because you can apply if you're going next year. You can apply if you're going in December. And this is the good time to come for your interviews.
Let me ask you maybe an unusual question, but I've heard that a certain color shirt is recommended for the interview. Should I buy a new shirt, a new yellow shirt? Would that help me?
That's not going. That's another myth, and that's
another
great.
myth.
That's another myth.
What day of the week is best to apply?
Oh no, that's another myth.
Tuesdays, right? It's Tuesday. I have the best chances.
Well, that's, there's a lot of misconceptions about the interview process and getting ready for your interview. There is no date. There's no day of the week. There is no shirt color that you should wear. Because the consular officer will not look at that. We look solely at the story that you're telling me.
That's right.
And the application that you've done.
That's right.
So if you're wearing your, yellow shirt, I'm going to look at you the same way as if you are wearing your traditional attire for Pakistan. If you're wearing, a nice
shalwar
kameez, or, your a customary attire.
So you're saying there's no shortcuts, there's no tricks. It's all the same.
There's no tricks. Whoever tells you that you need to wear, a red tie to impress The consular officer, it is wrong.
Got it. Okay.
It is wrong. We want to make sure that we give you a fair chance at getting your visa without any of those sorts of
Understood.
traits.
All right.
All right. So now my favorite part about this interview, it's this last slide because we get to thank you for listening to us here today. We're going to answer some questions. But before we do that, I want to tell you it's little trivia for you, Vincent. I know you arrived recently to the country, and so I want to give you a little trivia. Where do you think most Pakistanis visit in the United States?
I'd probably have to say...
Oh, before you answer that.
What's that?
I want some of our listeners to guess in their comments where they think most of Pakistanis visit in the U.S. And as they type, I'll come back to that question, but I'm going to answer a question.
Sure.
We have a question here from Zain, who says, how long does administrative processing take, Vincent?
Well, there is no set time, and it's different for every applicant. Sometimes it's pretty quick, depending on the circumstances, and sometimes it can take longer. And the officer will give you clear instructions. There's a pretty easy process to follow if we need any documents like a CV or an I-20, something like that. And if you have any questions, we have a good outreach or a unit that will take those and answer them for you. But it's different for every applicant.
Great. Yeah, that's a straight answer to that question. I want to also answer the question of Rizwan, who says, do you take family interviews together or individually? Now, this is a great question because we do see a lot of families. A lot of families want to go visit relatives in the United States. They want to go to various cities on vacation. And if you come as a family and you come to the window with your children, we are going to interview you with your family. Although it's not necessary, and Vincent can add to this point, but if you're applying at different dates because you are all working and you need to take, you have a family business and everyone works in the business, you can come at different times. But we do, if you come together, we are going to do your interview as a family.
I'd say it really helps the officer, and family interviews are my favorite. I get to have a clearer picture of your situation and your aspirations and what you want to do. I love talking to kids, and I think kids love talking to me, too. I got some good questions for kids. Another pro tip, any H-1Bs out there, if you have an H-4 spouse or child, come with your spouse or child. It really makes it easier for the officer and probably faster in the long run. I know what's going on quicker, and then we can get this whole process done.
Okay, so we have some people answering the trivia, Vincent. So I want to touch base on that. Waqaz Ahmed said New York City. And then we have Murtasa Ali, who says Chicago as the most visited place. And all of these are correct. What do you think? Where else are people visiting in the U.S.?
Well, in addition to our first and second cities, New York and Chicago, we have Washington, D.C., we have Boston. Let me put out a plug for my own city of Pittsburgh.
Oh.
It's a beautiful city. If you like sports, come to Pittsburgh. It's especially if you're a student, too. Great universities there, great food. It's the center of tech and youth and sports. So I love my own city, Pittsburgh. Look it up.
Great. So I just have to then put a plug for my
Go ahead.
city.
What do you got?
Miami.
Miami, the Dolphins.
So and Florida in general, if you like Disney World, I know we got a lot of folks who want to take their children to Disney World. But also if you like the beaches, you can come and relax in Miami.
What kind of music in Miami?
Oh, a lot of Hispanic music. You
What's
have
that?
the salsa, a lot of the Caribbean feel is also there.
A lot of dancing.
In Miami, a lot of dancing. You got to have your dance shoes on.
Okay, I'll buy some.
Okay. Well, I want to go back and remind everyone that we are doing this Facebook live chat every month at the end of the month. The last Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. we do this. We go for 30 minutes, and we also answer your questions. And we do have another question. So Sadakat Ali says, I have an Afghani passport. Can I apply from Pakistan for U.S. visa? I have to say, yes, you can. We here interview individuals from several countries. If you're living in Pakistan, if Pakistan is your residence, you can apply here in Pakistan. I do want to say we sometimes see individuals who live, for example, in Dubai. They should apply in Dubai because Dubai will have a better assessment of their ties to Dubai. If they come here and apply here, they can, but we may not know a lot about their situation in Dubai.
That's true.
Out of here.
Okay.
Okay. We have time for one more question, and I want to go back to Urfa. Urfa's question is great, and it says, if other countries reject my visa application, is there any effect on my case for a U.S. visit visa? What do you think, Vincent?
Well, I'd say we look at those factors again. We look at your social and economic ties. We look at your travel history. What's going on with your family? What are your aspirations? So there's no one thing here that has a big effect on your interview. It's the person in front of us. And I just want to say, before we leave, be yourself. When you come, tell me your story. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but always assume that we know the information.
Right.
So if we ask you, have you ever had a visa refused to any country, and you have, do not lie to the consular officer. You should assume that we already have this information. You should tell us if we ask you this question. And don't try to hide that because it won't help your interview if we then know that you did get a visa refused, right? So always speak the truth to consular officers.
That's a good rule.
That's always a good rule, right? So I just want to do a little review of what we've done here today, just for our audience's sake. Today we talked about 5 myths of the visa application process, and we also gave some tips. So we'll review a little bit of the tips and then of the myths as well.
All right.
Starting with the myths. Our first myth today was having relatives in the U.S. will hurt my eligibility for a U.S. visa.
And the myth is busted. Having friends or family in the U.S. will not make you ineligible for a U.S. visa.
Great. All right. So then our second myth today was I'm young, I'm single, I'm not married, I'm not looking to get married, so my visa will be refused.
ये सही नहीं है. अफसर नौजवान और गैर शादीशुदा अफराद को भी वीजा देते हैं.
Fantastic. Shukriya. And our third myth here today that we busted is I was refused a tourist visa recently. I should reapply for a U.S. visa next month to improve my chances. And we've said, no, do not do that unless your situation has significantly changed.
Absolutely.
Applying over and over again, either at different locations in Pakistan to improve your chances, it also does not improve your chances, okay?
Okay. And I need to speak English in order to impress the consular officer. Fact or myth?
Myth.
Absolutely.
We've talked a little bit about here how we are prepared to listen to you in your language of choice. We have a variety of translators here that will speak to you in the language of your choice. So including Vincent, who speaks great Urdu.
Well, we'll see. And myth number 5, Abdel, what do you think? Having visas for other countries will improve my chances of getting a U.S. visa?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
And this is one of those where, yes, having international travel sometimes can be a great thing, but at the same time, we issue individuals who have never traveled before as well. But we do want to remind everyone, you do not need to go get a fake visa.
You do not.
In order to improve your chances.
No.
This can hurt your eligibility for a U.S. visa.
All right.
Now, we also have some tips that we just want to briefly go over with you. Never book a flight.
Never book a
hotel in advance of your interview because you never know the outcome of that interview.
That's right. Documents. Bring some if you need them, but we may not look at them. We probably won't look at them. But if you think they're really important, you're welcome to bring them.
Okay. And if you have upcoming travel, apply early. It is our recommendation. Right now, Islamabad, again, 5-day wait time. So if you're planning a trip in the fall to go see relatives for the holidays in December, please feel free to come and apply early.
I am excited to meet these applicants, Abdel. How about you?
Yes, I'm thrilled that we were able to do this again this month. Remind everyone to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and join us here next August. August. We're going to have a fantastic presentation, so we are looking forward to having you as well.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Have a great day.